Hi, this is Dave and welcome to The Table, a series of videos where I review and discuss various board and card games looking at them from a family perspective. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Tools of a Hero Kind expansion for Boss Monster. Now what this is going to do is it's going to add 26 new cards into gameplay, and 20 of those cards are going to be item cards that are going to allow the adventurers to be a little bit stronger. But you as the boss, if you can defeat them, will have a big payoff in the end. Let's take a look at these cards and how they're implemented into the game, and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, let's take a look at the cards that come in this Boss Monster Tools of a Hero Kind expansion. And there are three types of cards here. Some are familiar, some are new. For example, now, these item cards are new, and these item cards are going to become available in the village and will attach themselves to the heroes before they go traveling through the dungeon. For example, we may have something like an extra life, or an ice rod, or a 10-foot pole, or even a pet monster. So these cards are going to give the heroes a new type of ability as they go through the dungeon. But as the boss, if we are able to kill that hero, we will be able to have an additional ability that we will be able to take from those item cards. Now there's also a few new room deck cards, different types of rooms, and all these do are make accommodations for these new item cards. So these types of cards will come in and will have special instructions that pertain to the item cards. And then also a couple of new spell cards too that go into the spell deck. So let me show you how this expansion is incorporated into the game. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I have set up Boss Monster for 2 players. And a couple things I've already done ahead of time. But what I did was shuffled in the new expansion cards into the room deck and the spell deck for those cards. And I've taken the item cards and I've shuffled them up and I've placed them in a pile over next to the village over here. So they're placed right here. What I have done then was shuffled up and dealt the bosses to each player. We've got it set up for 2 players. I happen to have King Croak and my opponent has Zyzax. And then we were dealt our starting hand of 5 room deck cards and 2 from the spell deck. And then we were allowed to choose any of those, but we had discard 2. So we'll still have 5 cards in our hand, which we did. We simultaneously revealed our discarded cards and placed them in the discard pile. And we have also taken the opportunity to build the first room. So both of us have placed some trap rooms here. So now what we will do is we will reveal the heroes that are coming out. Since there's 2 players, we'll reveal 2 heroes. And then now we will draw 1 card from the item deck. If we're playing with 4 players, we'll draw 2. So what's going to happen is we have this Staff of Healing. And let me explain to you a little bit about how this card is going to work. First of all, if we look at the icon on there in the upper left-hand corner, it says that it's a cleric and also says Staff of Healing Cleric item. So this is going to attach itself to a cleric in the village, and it's the first. If there's more than 1 cleric, it's going to attach itself to the cleric who's been there the longest. Now at the bottom of the card there are 2 boxes here, and one of them looks like the Running Man, and that is what the hero has as an ability. And it says until end of turn, each hero entering your dungeon has +2 life points. So this means that if there are multiple heroes going to be coming through your dungeon, each one of those is going to have an additional 2 life points. So it's going to make things a little bit more difficult. Now, if during the course of the hero coming through your dungeon and you are able to defeat him, you will be able to claim this card and have it face up in your scoring area, and you will be able to have this monster ability here, which says heal 1 ordinary wound. So this is a one-time use that you'll be able to do, and I will explain how these cards work in a little bit. But in the meantime, this card now is going to attach itself to the cleric, and it will be placed underneath, so all you have is the hero ability revealed. Okay, let me advance the gameplay, and I will show you a little bit as to how these cards work. Okay, so I have advanced the gameplay here a little bit, and I wanted to bring you up to date as to what has been going on. First of all, the Zyzax over here had managed to attract a thief to his dungeon who had an item attached to him. And one of the things here, if you see here, there's a question mark up in the corner, and what this does is this is like a universal attachment. So this will attach itself to the hero who has been in the lineup the longest, who does not have an item attached to him, because each hero can only have one item attached to them. So this happened to be this. The thief survived, so this card is placed face down in their scoring area, so they won't be able to gain that ability at all, and obviously the thief has dealt one wound to him. So what I have done now here is I have played the Succubus Spa card on my turn here, and the Zyzax has played this Magnetic Ceiling, which is an advanced trap room. And now the latest hero to be revealed was the Fool, and so now his item card here, which we draw, is the Pet Monster, which happens to be also a universal item, so this is going to go underneath him. And now we will go ahead and proceed with where all the heroes are going to go through and which dungeon they're going to visit. So we start off here, we'll look at the Fool, and it says he's going to be lured to the dungeon of the player with the fewest souls. Well, this one over here, the thief, he's got the fewest, so he's going to draw the Fool. And we look at the clerics. I have two clerics. They have one, so I'm going to have these two decide to come over and visit my dungeon. And we have a mage, and neither one of us have any mages out there. So we'll resolve this here. I have 800 experience points, so we'll go first. And so if we look here at this particular cleric, his card says until end of turn, each hero entering your dungeon has +2. And the second cleric over here has an ability that says destroy the first advanced room that this hero survives. So this first cleric is going to come through, and he will be now at a 6 life point instead of 4 due to this item that he has, this Staff of Healing. So we're going to come through here. This room, boom, is going to hit him for 1 damage. Next room here is going to hit him for 4. That's 5. Finally hits this room, that's 6. So that will kill this cleric. So what I will do is I will take the item that's attached to him, the Staff of Healing, and I will place it face up in my area, my scoring area, and this will allow me to use this at one point, either during the build phase or the adventure phase. I would be able to use this ability of healing 1 ordinary wound, and then I would place it face down in my scoring area. But right now it's going to be face up, so I have that to use. And then obviously with this hero that I have killed, I will turn him over and claim his soul. So I place him off to the side. Now the second cleric comes through here, and he still has, because it's the end of turn, he has 10 life points. So we're going to come through here. He's going to hit this room here 1. That's going to bring him down to 9. He's going to come to this room here, which happens to be an advanced monster room. And so this ability kicks in and says destroy the first advanced room that this hero survives. Well, he comes through here, and he had 10. Now it's 9. -4 is 5, so he's going to survive, so this room is going to be destroyed. Comes in here and takes another 1, and now he still survives, and he makes it to my boss. What's going to happen now is this card that was attached to him, this Inquisitor's Robes, is going to be placed face down in the scoring area, and I will not be able to use that item, and this cleric will be sent over here, and he dealt 1 wound to the boss. Now likewise over here, for the other player, the Fool, it says in the bottom, when this hero enters your dungeon, deactivate the first monster room in your dungeon. So right now it's going to come here and hit this Goblin Armory, and it's going to be deactivated. So now it's not going to be able to do anything here. So we'll just kind of turn it this way. It's deactivated. And it's going to come through, deal 1 and then 3. And so it's going to kill the Fool. So we will be able to claim his soul. And then now here, this says, choose a monster room in any dungeon. Deactivate that room until end of turn. So he'll be able to play that against another player. So when he decides to do that during the build phase or the adventure phase, he can use that. So that's how the item cards work in the Boss Monster game. So this play is going to continue going back and forth until one of the players has collected 10 souls and has less than 5 wounds, or in this case for a 2-player game, if one of the bosses sustains 5 wounds, then the other player will win. So this is pretty much what this adds to the game, and we will go and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, let's talk about this expansion for Boss Monster. And first of all, you gotta love the packaging. These guys have been very creative in how they have put out their product. I mean, this one now looks like a Game Boy Advance game. And this is definitely a worthwhile expansion to add to Boss Monster if you're a fan, because it changes the game up significantly. Now, I mean, the game itself could be difficult, especially when it comes to the epic heroes. Now, we're playing the game and it's going to be a little bit more difficult because each of those items, as they attach to the heroes when they come through your dungeon, they may have something that's going to make them a bit stronger. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to defeat them. Not that they are undefeatable, but it makes them a little bit more challenging. But the nice thing is with these cards is that once you're able to defeat that particular hero, now you have an extra card that you can put in your scoring area and you have it to use it as a one-time use. So it's almost like having an additional spell, which is really, really good. For example, in the gameplay there, we had the Staff of Healing, and the hero the boss could actually use that card at one point to heal himself of 1 wound, and that could make the difference between being eliminated from the game and staying in the game. So there's some good payoffs that way. The cards themselves, again, they continue on with the nice artwork. One thing I did notice, and there is a slight variation in color on the border between this expansion and the original base game for Boss Monster. So a discerning eye would be able to tell which cards, if they're going to be coming from the expansion or not, which is really no big deal because there's really only like 4 cards that are going into the room and 2 of them that are going into the spell deck. So, and unless you're really looking for it, you're not going to notice it. So if you decide that you want to take the expansion out, if you just look at that border, the base game, they look like they're black, and these are almost like a really, really dark chocolate brown. So there's a slight distinction, not enough that you need to sleeve the cards by any means for this game. So I really, really like this. It takes Boss Monster, which is a game that I really enjoy, and takes it to a new level. So I want to highly recommend adding this expansion. This is definitely a worthwhile investment to add to your game because it's going to bring new life to it, and it's going to change it up enough that it's going to make it a bit more challenging if you thought it was too easy. So I would recommend, if you are a fan of Boss Monster, pick this one up, add it to your game, throw those items in there, and just start defeating those heroes and taking away their items and using them for yourself, either to benefit yourself or to hurt your opponents. Alright, that's it for now. And join me again next time as we take a look at another game and see how it makes it to the table.